G'day and welcome to episode 4 of the It's Not About That podcast. In this episode, I'm chatting with a fella who's paving a very humble road to success as a director DOP in the States. Having directed music videos for amazing bands like Hot Mulligan, Knuckle Puck, Friends and Belmont, just to name a few, he really is making waves in the industry. Had a feeling this guy was a good egg, and I'm stoked to say after chatting with him, I was spot on. Not only does he have a remarkable drive for his work, having cut his teeth in Midwest basement shows, he is incredibly humble about what he has achieved so far and has great foresight into what he wants to accomplish moving forward. I'm thrilled he gave up his time to have this remote chat with me all the way from Indianapolis, just a quick 14,000 kilometers from my house. Let's dive in. Today we are talking with a fabulous director, DOP and producer from the States, who came to my attention through what I can only say is prolific involvement in awesome music videos online. So around 2020, Spotify very kindly fed me a track called Equip Sunglasses from a band I didn't know at the time called Hot Mulligan. And 3 minutes later, I found myself on YouTube watching the film clip to that and just laughing my nuts off and having a great time going, okay, that's a sick film clip. And then little did I know that 4 years later, I would have ingested so much Michael Herrick in my life. Michael, welcome.
Hello. Good to meet you, Aaron.
Lovely to meet you too. Now,
thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Yes, it's kind of funny when you look back and you're like, 4 years ago, I obviously had no idea who you were, and Spotify kind of goes, hey, listen to this band, and then all of a sudden, you have been in my eyeballs for 4 years. It's kind of crazy. The internet, it's a beautiful thing.
In his eyeballs.
So good. Now, we were going to catch up last week, but you had a little gig swing up your way, and you donned on some country outfit and headed on a couple of days tour. Tell me about that for a minute.
Yeah, some country western. Actually, not western. Some Texas country. Yeah. So sorry. Thanks for rescheduling and jumping on. But I got
Absolute
hit up
pleasure.
by Columbia, like super last minute. They're like, hey, we need someone right now. I was like, cool. So they flew me out to LA to join up with an artist named Co Wetzel. He's like from North Texas, and he was just doing like a 4-day run in like LA, Bakersfield, just like a bunch of California dates. So I jumped on to do hybrid coverage for him and the label, just the whole team. It was a blast. It was my first time doing anything in that industry. So it was a kind of a culture shock. It was a absolute blast.
Yes. Well, the when I was watching your Instagram feed that week, there was some pretty cool vision, and definitely the country outfit that you put up. I had a good chuckle. So well done. You looked great.
Thank you. Really trying to play the part over here.
It was a good costume. I hope you don that again at some stage.
Oh, for sure. I've got it hanging up right behind.
Actually, I should have got you to wear it tonight. Hilarious. Or today, this morning for you.
Yeah.
Now, obviously this is the first time we're meeting, but from what I've gathered from kind of watching your interactions online and the work that you do, it seems to be that you have a deep love for punk and emo and pop punk music. So where did that kind of musical influence stem from for you? And tell me about, kind of getting into that scene.
Yeah. So I grew up as a pastor's kid. So I spent a bunch of time in church over here, and kind of just how you say. I have a great appreciation for anti-culture or pushing against the norm because of my upbringing. So I like quickly found myself going towards whatever art I found that kind of resembled the feelings I had. So like naturally that evolved into punk rock, or an appreciation for punk rock. So I like fell in love with like Taking Back Sunday, Say Anything, kind of like the, you know, early 2000s, like pop punk emo scene.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a blast. Like, created who I am now. But I like started going to shows, shooting shows, and then I just always gravitated towards like more aggressive music. So like punk leading to pop punk, and then like getting into hardcore and metalcore. I come from like a strong scene in the Quad Cities of like noise, grindcore, screamo content. So that just it made a very big impact on me very early, like through my teens, and then I've just kept that going through my 20s. So I'm mentally always going to be a angry 16-year-old trying to figure it out. Even though I have a wife and a house, I'm still mentally in a basement someplace in the Midwest.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm so happy, but gosh, I love that so bad.
Yeah. There's still a deep anger inside of me that I don't know what's going on, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, I was similar, right? So how old are you?
28.
28. Okay, so I turn 40 next week actually, so I'm about 12 years older. So that same late 90s, early thousands, early noughties, we had, you know, the Dude Ranch came out, Taking Back Sundays, we had Dashboard Confessional, all the drive-through record bands, all that stuff. That was definitely my kind of upbringing in my teenage and then early 20 years, and it just cements so much fun and even just the emotion in the lyrics, I find, just really helped me as, you know, an idiot teenage boy going through, you know, the trials and tribulations of love and friendship and everything. And I just think that like punk and emo is absolutely almost like therapy for for teenagers.
Yeah, which I'm like very appreciative. Like it went that way, of course, but like pairing like the aggression up with getting your emotions out was awesome for me. It still is awesome, especially paired with like the community of like your local music scene. I don't know like if that resonates with you at all, but that was like imperative of like finding a community of like-minded misfits, that like I didn't feel like such a fuck up. That it was like, hey, maybe I did feel like a fuck up, but we were all fucking up together. So it
totally
it helped me out a lot.
I know. I think when you're at the shows and you know, pre and post the show, it's you're looking around and you're going, hey, these are actually all my people. Like we're all here for the same bands, and it totally is a community, and I think it's a really nice feeling. Like there's no competition, it's nothing. We're just simply there in love with the same music. It's pure gold. Yeah,
it's very pure. There's like not a lot of like dogma attached to it, or it's like the most like raw like need to go to this thing. It doesn't feel like a voluntary or like an optional task. Like I need to go to support the scene, to get my shit out, to like experience this cool thing that's happening right now. You know?
Did you cop many boots to the head during circle pits and things like that?
Yeah, pretty early on. I was seeing I went to like a metalcore show in someplace rural Illinois in like 2012, and it was like Counterparts and Terror, except I was really into Counterparts, but I'd never really gotten into Terror yet. So I was like, 15 or 16, and then like doing my best attempt at pitting, and then I don't know what happened, but I remember a very big blue collar boy picking me up by my neck and throwing me back during the Terror set. Like in the moment, I was like, this is not good for me.
And yet you kept coming back. You kept coming back.
Such a blast. Yeah, like being afraid at shows is such a special thing. I loved that. Even though it's a touch weird.
Well, I think it's because you want to be there, right? You're happy to cop the damage because it's a love thing. So I remember my very first concert. I think I was 14, and there was a couple of Australian bands, one called Body Jar and Living End. And I remember there's another band called the Super Jesus there, and I was all of 14. It cost me like $14 to get in. It was absolute brilliant. But it's my first time in the pit, and I absolutely got like crushed on the neck by a crowd surfer. And I was like, that really hurt, but there's a dude floating on people. This is amazing.
Yeah, like that initial like first year of shows where you're like obsessed with like the crazy shit that's going on. Like I remember seeing like people like crowd walk, like, or head walk, like just run from the stage and walk on heads. It was like, what's wrong with these people? And everyone here's sober? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Ah, that's awesome. Okay, so from in that era, what was your favorite show as a kid?
Probably like my first proper punk show, or pop punk. It was House of Blues Chicago in maybe like 2011, 2012. I believe it was on my 16th birthday, but it was Say Anything, Kevin Devine and the Goddamn Band, and the Front Bottoms, and it was like,
oh, nice,
crazy to me. Like it was like the first time I ever heard of Kevin Devine and the Front Bottoms, and it blew my mind. I like fell in love with, all of the artists, but it was such a blast. Again, in like the House of Blues, Chicago's like kind of a smaller venue, and I just remember like standing in the pit, not being able to move, just drenched with other people's liquids, and then just like slowly leaning back and forth while the floor is bending. Be like, wow, this seems like it shouldn't be happening right now.
Yeah. And yet you keep coming back. It always happens.
You've got,
That's so good. See, we weren't exposed. I mean, we still had lots of shows, but all the bands only kind of came out here once a year at the most, kind of thing. And and they would play, when they played little shows, they would sell out in a heartbeat because everyone was just desperate to get to them. So there was so many shows that we missed out. Like I never got to Say Anything back in the day or anything like that. So
dang,
it's
what
a
a
hard
shame.
slog. Yeah.
Yeah, and how big were venues?
Lucky
or how big was your like hometown venue that you would go to?
So the big one, like say if you're an arena band, that's 10 to 15,000, or probably 20,000 realistically.
Okay.
But the main kind of if you were like say the size of the Ataris or the size of Dashboard when they first kind of came out, that was about a 1,500 max, probably 1,500 seat venue or standing room venue. So it was just going like hotcakes. It's crazy.
Okay. That's cool though.
Yeah.
That's cool for them that they're on tour and getting so much love in a different place.
Absolutely. Well, I remember the very first time Dashboard came out, and obviously that's a different gig because it's relatively so emo and very acoustic and just lots of singing. But for the first time ever, you're at this venue, you're looking around and every single person is singing every single word to every single song for what was an hour and a half or whatever, and they were, because that was right at the start for them, they were blown away that they travel across the world to Australia, and here they are, everyone's singing every word. And I just remember it felt like you were in choir at school. Like it was just, you were involved in something special. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, like something bigger than yourself. Big love to that feeling.
So good.
Shout out
Now,
bigger feeling than ourselves.
Oh yes, I think actually I was watching a reel, like a story or a reel the other day of Tom DeLonge. Oh, actually there was they did a Fender guitar little doco here when they were over, and he talks about the energy from the crowd, and he gets quite spiritual about it. But I resonated. I did feel it.
Dude, totally. That crossover is massive for me. So I replaced the church community with the music scene. I left the church and just immediately pivoted that it was I think youth group is bad and dumb, and then just immediately went to the music scene. And that was huge for me to find a family that accepted me immediately. It was there's something here. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
How did you make that decision? What was it about, hanging out at the church and youth group and going, actually, I think punk, emo and hardcore is going to be my jam?
Yeah. During the time, it probably wasn't a conscious decision because I was 15 and less than intelligent. I think just confusion would be a big one. Not enjoying, not having the answers, because there's a lot of it's funny because I've kind of come back to a spiritual point in my life. But at the time I really didn't like the mystery surrounding God or the church or anything like that. And I needed structure and answers, which the music scene is traditionally very secular. So more science-based answers that was very appealing to me. That was probably the deeper underlying, just searching for answers and needing concrete evidence for things. Would probably be the base of it. And then also just church has its own big set of issues. When bad things happen in church, it sucks.
Yeah.
I've learned that it's that's not the base of everything within church. But it does break my heart when bad shit does happen.
And do you still get on with your folks now?
Yeah, I do. It's funny, in the last handful of years, I've had a nice hallmark journey with my father, where we love each other again and we're good friends. And then also coming back to some type of faith has also been very clarifying. And it feels very similar to being accepted by the music scene when I was 16. Now in my late 20s, attempting to understand what God could be, and having a clarity around stillness has been beautiful for me. I can't really extrapolate on details. There's no concrete evidence or anything. But there is something there, and I found a lot of solace in the search for that.
That's good. And I mean, as long as you're finding happiness, right? That's the best thing.
Yeah, that's where happiness, a base, is very big. An unchanging base is very appealing to me. But yeah, it's been a fun journey.
All right. Well, if you're happy to, can we delve into a bit of our other kind of thing we have in common from the other side of the planet is your and my love of everything film and videos and cinematography. How did you get into that world? And you were saying earlier that's kind of music led you that way, but was there anything else that kind of got you in?
Not at all. It really has just been a funny journey of just like saying yes to opportunities that have come up, because I started out as like a photographer, and then like a band needed a music video, and I was like, I can probably press the red button on my camera. And then just trying way too hard with every project I've gotten just like led me into a career in film that like now I can like love and respect it for what for like the beauty that it can put out. But it's funny because I'm not a big movie guy. Like I wasn't a big movie guy. I like love visual media obviously, but I'm not like a cinema bro or anything like that. It's kind of funny because I should be.
Hey, look, if you're smashing it, so I love what you're doing, and it looks great. So I'm just going to pretend you're in the cinema every day, taking notes, going, yes, I'll try that technique. Oh, the Rembrandt, yes, let's do that next time.
Yes. Yeah, I do feel myself like the further I've gone along in my career, just like analyzing everything, like from like a lighting perspective, and then like as a producer, like if I see something on screen, to be like start deconstructing like how much things cost, and then be like, wow, this is actually a surprisingly large budget. Wow, props to the producer on this movie.
Absolutely. And it's I think when I first kind of started getting my head around film was I just didn't understand how many people were involved, and how, particularly not with movies, obviously not so much video clips and things, but like they could film the ending first, film the middle bit here, do this. They could be 6-7 months down the track and they'll film a scene that's cut together next and back to back. And I honestly, as a kid, thought a movie was press record at the start and they press stop at the end. I had no idea. It's amazing.
Yeah, props to the assistant director and producers to figure all of that out. To make kids believe the lie.
Hey, Harry Potter's real. It's not a lie.
Yeah. And actors too. That's a hard place to get to. Like finishing production knowing that it's going to be the first scene. Like that translating on screen. It's difficult.
So with getting into music videos and I think you do corporate work, commercial work on this as well. Have you how's the transition into kind of working with bands into dealing with the client side of commercial work?
Yeah, that's been a very needed part of my life and career, because I started doing like the DIY photography music video thing, which was like awesome to get me through college in like my early 20s, but then kind of like developing some equity like in gear and in a career, and then being able to like, hey, I think I can make so much more money if I do boring work. if I work for brands and companies, not a kid screaming on a microphone. Which I shouldn't say boring. Dear clients, please keep on hiring me. I am trying. But yeah, it's like the ability to like prioritize money in a job is very nice, because you can kind of like you don't need to take every like passion project or like music industry job that comes along. So you can like only accept the things that you want to accept, and then put 100% of your mind into it, because you're not like stressed about like cutting corners. So like now that you're not like financially stressed because you have commercial work coming in, you can like afford to hire a DP or like a whole line of production, or like rent some fancy lenses or something like that. Which has been awesome. So like as my commercial career has grown, like it's been the same for my work in the music industry, which I wish I would have known that a little bit earlier, because it's been very clarifying.
Yes, there's Unfortunately, there's no playbook, right? If we were given the answers at 18, we wouldn't be the same fabulous people we are now. So you got to go. You got to go the long way.
Yeah, exactly. You got to figure it out for yourself, do the whole thing.
So to date, what would you say has been? I'll ask this in two sections. What's been your favorite commercial job, and what's been your favorite music / passion love project?
I think for commercial work, I've done a good amount of work just as a gaffer, but I've done a lot of work for a furniture manufacturer in rural Iowa called All Steel. Like All Steel, Han, Gunlock, the parent company's H&I. I worked with like 2 directors in a grip with them just on like multiple week-long commercial shoots that were like in a studio where we could really like work with the client and then get something that's like flawless. That's been awesome to like be able to put out work that like there's nothing wrong with. Having like the time and budget to refine everything, which I think you get from I poked around and saw you do a good amount of commercial work as well. So that's awesome. And then for work in the music industry, I love so much, like with live content, that's like my biggest passion. I just did like a little run with Hot Mulligan in January, where we shot like the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago. And I just had like a massive team. I like approached everyone, was like, hey, we're all not going to get paid a lot of money, but I think we can make something really badass for the band.
Yeah.
And just like having like worked with, everyone's kind of in the same boat that it's like, totally understand we're not going to make a lot of money on this, but like we want to make something that looks huge, that like will be archived. So like 15 years from now, people can look at Hot Mulligan like right as they were like blowing up like in a hometown like Midwest show. Yeah, and then I really loved doing work with probably Knuckle Puck. I did a run with my good bud Herrick Easterday. I jumped on as producer and he was directing. Probably The Tower would be my favorite music video production. We like really stretched the budget and again called in a bunch of favors from a really good line of guys. We had like Eric was directing, Derek Rathbun was our DP, and then Dan White was our gaffer. And I really talked to a lot of people and then tried to be respectful and also talked them down on their prices. Just for a full month of my life. Because we needed like a warehouse. It was just so much. Which hopefully I didn't burn any connections in the process. But the final product is like kick ass. It looks like a much bigger budget than we actually had. And I'm very proud of that.
That's so cool. Like the being able to be proud of work and like look back and go, you know what we achieved and what we did, and especially as a team, again, like you're kind of coming back to community and working together, right? Like as shooters and freelancers and things, like often we're by ourselves kind of running our business and running our lives and doing things like that. So when you come together and achieve something, I could see it sounds so boring and corporate, but it's also just like those moments are actually kind of even more golden, I think, in our industry because we're not always together as units.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is something to be said. Because, like all of our favorite work is usually like with a team of people that we like being around or like trust or look up to at some point. Because that is like, both of those examples, a big chunk of it was just I loved the team. I loved working with those people. And it like made the experience so much better that like even if there isn't a ton of money or if it's like stressful on set, like knowing that the people that you're around like have your back and they trust you and like you're there for a reason goes a long way, in addition to like the final product.
Totally. And people, people make and break a day. So if you're working with people you don't enjoy, it can be quite a challenge.
Quite a challenge. I would call it a nightmare.
So diplomatic.
Like the person with a massive ego on set is that's like, it's very old very quickly.
It's so funny in our industry that, particularly for people trying to poke their heads into the commercial space and go into the TVC world and things, it's the ego in that is just bizarre. And it's almost like, oh, you want to go in this space? Okay, you need to kind of really have some ego before you can move up or want to move up. It's so foreign to me because, I just love, as best I can, try and be a nice guy and just enjoy the people around me. And I just have no time for ego. It's just so bizarre that that's a factor.
Yeah. And it's so unappealing. Like, I think pride ultimately can come back to the artist, at least in like our little community. It's just so funny, like in the come up, like I'm not like working for Spotify, like I'm not doing like insane, like the number one client job. So it's like looking around and then identifying pride. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, we're all like dumb artists. Calm down. You're only like making this harder for all of us right now. Like, we're all just like potatoes that learned how to get money from people with enough budget.
And having fun doing it. That's the most important part.
Yeah. Paramount.
I get paid for this? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Acting like it's normal.
Yes. Oh, they asked me a question. I'm like, I know the answer to this. Shit. Okay, we're going to do this.
They're like, we should give this guy money.
Yeah. It's just like, I say there's a friend I work with who kind of does my camera assisting and gaffer when we're on just the jobs together. And I always just say to him, just remind me to press record. That's all I need you to do today. It's like,
we fit you in the budget. Make sure I actually get the job done.
Yes, but if that red light's not going, we're out. We're both out.
Yeah, we're both fired.
Now, looking at the last, I don't know, I feel in the last kind of, what are we, April? So in the last 4 months, I just feel your volume of output has just gone above and beyond. How are you still standing, and how are you managing your work-life balance right now?
I'm not successfully, I should clarify. I'm a walking nightmare. I have no idea. I would love to have an answer on a good work-life balance, but I'm working so much right now, and I've been learning a lot. Like, it's funny you mentioned like the last 4 months, because about like 8 months ago, I was like processing through like where I want to be at in like 1 or a few years from now. And I just landed on like, I just want to push out as much good content as I possibly can. So like, that's like, yeah, it's kind of like started to come out since the beginning of 2024. But I've really leaned into delegation. So like before, I'd produce, direct, DP, and then edit and color, which is so much, but it's kind of like that's what it calls for in like the earlier part of your career. But I had like a little bit more budget than normal, and I wanted to get a lot more frequency going on in the career part of my life. So I started hiring out like DP work, editing, coloring, and I've really jumped into the role of being a producer, which has been really nice. So I'm not like getting like bogged down with like the creative aspect of the job, and I'm just being able to like focus on logistics. Because for me, it's much easier to get from like A to B, to be like, I need a location. These are the locations. What can we fit in our budget? Instead of like, what am I trying to tell? Like, what's the overarching narrative of this video? Like that gets a little bit foggy in a way that it's difficult to like have an answer and accomplish. So I've leaned into producing a lot in the last like 6 months. And I've loved it. Like I feel much more efficient. And I've been able to like give a lot of work to now like my friends, which feels good to like help the community that I'm in, just to like be able to give someone's full day rate at like the job that they're best at. So like I get to like help my friends, and the product is going to be better because it's not like me like doing my best attempt in DaVinci to like correct skin tones. I like have a guy that knows what he's doing, and a color calibrated monitor and a bunch of nerd garbage. And it's been the best thing ever for my career. Like not doing every aspect of the job, but like being able to trust other people to do the things that they're good at.
That's super interesting. And that's what, did you have any, like, did you hand off a couple of jobs and get rubbish back and have to work through people? Did you pick the right people from the get-go?
I haven't had... So the thing about like increasing my volume is that there is no like time for correction or like on my end, I'm like doing enough like my schedule's booked, so I can't block out an extra 6 hours to like correct a cut before it goes off to an editor, or else like then I'm going to be producing poorly for my job in 3 weeks from now. So there's been like some aspects of like, I wish it would have been like this, for like specific edits, like in music videos and stuff. Which it sucks. It sucks to like give away your idea and have it not be flawless. Like in your initial vision, but I've learned that no one notices.
Yes.
Like I've like had my wife like next to monitor and showing her like, did you see the keyframe? It wasn't what it was supposed to be. It should have been 3 frames later because it takes away from the energy in the chorus. And she's like, Michael, this is no one will know. And I'm like,
yeah,
noted. Okay.
Yeah. But you still
so I think a lot
of
of just been like,
because it makes you as good as you are.
Yeah, and like being able to like say that to an editor and then have them be like, okay, yeah, I can understand why you would think that. That also puts me in the point of like, also I've learned so much from hiring people better than myself for every role. Yeah, like as DP, I'm just like, I'm learning a lot because I'm paying my friends to kind of teach me. Like have them be like, no, why would you do it like that? And then be like, yeah, how would you do it? And then having them be able to like, you're like, well, you need to actually, approach this way, or else you're going to get this consequence later on. And you're like, this is good. So I've been able to like grow in my career in a bunch of ways that way.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you're learning. We all need to continually learn. And I guess when people get to, I definitely suffer from that one-man band trying to do everything, kind of trying to maximize the budgets and things, and but wanting to like let the shackles off and go, the gaffer can excel 100% at his or her role. The soundy can do his or her role. And then the editor and the colorist, and just if you let 100% on each of those rather than it being like, okay, 80, 60, 90, 60, 80, you're going to get a better result. So I think I'm going to take that from you today. I'm going to be like, okay, in the next couple of jobs, I'm going to start delegating a bit more. I think I like what you've given me today. This is beautiful.
Oh, excellent. And I've learned that it also has given me a lot of grace. Because like coming from a point where like I self-shot and self-edited every aspect of it, and then being able to bring on people, like now I'm like, I've had to like learn how to budget for that financially, and then also like in the timeline. So like whatever, when I was like 22 delivering music videos for labels, that it was like no money and no time. Now being like, that's absurd. Like if you're gonna get into an edit, you need like at least 3 days, and then color takes a day. So like now learning that there's like, yeah, post will take at least 4 days. I can't fit it in there. It's going to be bad, or my life, like my work-life balance is gonna suffer. Not worth it. Again, like learning from the communicating with the people that you're hiring is huge.
Does your wife work in a similar field, or do you guys kind of, you've got this side of your life and she's got her side of her life? How do you guys kind of meet up career path-wise? She's
a teacher. She like has small groups of like 1st to 4th graders. She teaches them like phonics and like helps with reading comprehension. So very different careers. It's funny, like she's like more of a, it's just funny like explaining crazy concepts to her, and like knowing that she's confused out as to how I'm like making a career out of it, but wanting to still be a nice lady and supportive. Like with the most recent Hot Mulligan video, I'm like, yeah, and then like all of the guys are gonna make out with each other. I'm gonna get slow-mo of their tongues kissing. And then like see like her being, you know, she's a great lady. But very different careers. Which kind of goes with like all of like everyone in like the normal part of my life. There is a good chunk of confusion as to where I've gotten at this point in my life or my career.
That's good. It'd be boring if you were both teachers, so that's a good way to do it.
No offense to teaching couples, but
yes, yeah. no, they can suffer in their jocks.
Yeah.
That film clip is awesome, by the way. So well done. I applaud you on all your efforts for that. And
cool.
The behind the scenes video was definitely enjoyable too. So it's been a very good couple of months of getting Herrick just all over the screens. Well done.
Just blasted in your face. Good. Glad to hear that it's working.
How have the numbers stacked up? Have your viewership or social numbers on your different platforms risen with the volume and quality? I must admit.
Yeah, quite a lot. Which like that's like why I was trying to approach my job this way going forward. Yeah, I just like monetized my YouTube channel. Like that became a thing that I was able to do, which is cool and very surprising. I wasn't like trying to do that. But I got like a notification from Google the other day, and I was like, yes, I will make everyone watch ads from now on. So sorry, I would like to pay rent this month.
Yeah. Thank you. It's like,
yeah, and like on socials.
I did need that new pair of underwear, so it works well.
Yeah. Thank you, Google overlords. This is going to buy me Wendy's today. 4 for $4. And then like on socials, it's been really great as well. Not even that like I'm massive now, but just like my engagement has gone up quite a bit. And just like, yeah, like you reached out through socials. I I'm usually talking to a handful of people in my DMs, which is cool now that I've been able to like develop relationships out of like being much more active. I got the job through Sony, like with Co Wetzel, through like they saw a reel that I posted from my account. So it's been cool to, I was like very cynical about like, or still am very cynical about trying on social media, because I really don't ever want to like come across as fake or like think about it, like having to put time into how others perceive me is the most vain shit ever. So I hate it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that it's like, it's 2024. If I'm going to have a career in media, you have to like at least attempt. So that's like what I've been doing on socials, and it's been great so far.
And I think it's so interesting hearing you talk about that, because like for the longest time I just went, nah, I don't want a bar of socials. It's just, you know, I'm busy with work, busy with my family. I've got 3 kids. I don't want to be looking at my phone and like checking updates and thinking about posting behind the scenes shots from shoots and things. But for years, my wife has just been like, I think you should be doing it. I think you should be doing it. I think it'll be good. Like, I think people want to see what you're doing. And because half the people in my life don't really know what I do or know the shoots I do, because prior to this year, I just wasn't putting it out, and I wouldn't really talk about, oh, you know, I worked on this job or worked with this person. I was just kind of just happy chugging away and just being normal friend guy. So it's been an interesting few months for me posting and doing, you know, I'm still doing the bare minimal of social media posting, but it is kind of refreshing just coming in so late in the piece and just kind of going, oh, look at all this stuff that's around, and people doing all this great behind the scenes work and the reels, and just that appetite for the short form is just so interesting to me. So it's so interesting hearing you kind of say that you don't want to play in the fake side of it, but we understand that it probably is a part of working in this industry moving forward.
Yeah, completely. It feels like you're doing yourself an injustice if you're not making the attempt to like then market the work that you just put a ton of energy and effort into. And it feels like the community, maybe it's just because I have been much more active on socials in the last 5 months, but the people that are following me, it doesn't feel like I'm a savior or anything. I'm like still myself. You know, like I feel like people know who I am generally, which has been nice. I think that was like a big part of it, that was like, I don't want to have to be someone I'm not. And I've just like kind of been like, I'm not gonna act any certain way. I'm just gonna be who I am and how I feel in the moment. And it's worked, because that like resonates with a lot of people. Like no one wants to like stand up and like do a TikTok dance to like the whatever shit's going on that's trendy. Like no one wants to like sell themselves.
Yeah.
And I also think like real recognizes real, that like, you know, if I see someone doing that, I'd be like, I wouldn't do that, but like good for them, you know. Like,
I'm going to give you a golf clap over here. Yes.
No hate, no, get your bag, but
yeah.
And I've just learned a lot more people and been able to like follow others' styles that I respect on the internet, and just not giving up the integrity of who I want to be while also marketing myself has been a very good learning experience.
And I think, is like you touched on earlier, just if you avoid the ego thing, I think that's only going to be a benefit. Just staying, like you're saying, stay who you are, and just real will see real. And it's just, it's important just to be a human and not fall into that fake trap, for sure.
Yeah. Which I think is harder and harder the more your career advances. So you get unaware of what the real world is like because a lot of people are saying nice things to you.
Well, yeah, I think at some stage, so you've got your monetizing from YouTube. At some stage, you'll get a straw in the mail that you put in your ass so that people can just blow straight into it. So.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Exactly. No blowing air in the ass.
Now,
it cannot be
so
allowed.
That leads me to just on Friday nights. It's fine. That leads me to my next question, which is navigating the potential negative side of the internet. So my biggest fear about being online prior was, hey, like, what am I going to do if someone's like, I hate your work, you suck, and your face is awful, get off. And it's like, I think it's obviously because I'm comfortable with who I am and my age now. I feel like I could pretty much get any comment online and just be like, oh yeah, that's you. I'm still me. I'm going to carry on. So how have you ever had negative experiences online, or has it all been pretty positive for you thus far?
It's been largely good. There's like probably a handful of things that I've seen in like the last decade of doing this that like I thought about for a while. Because there's always like YouTube comments that are like, what? Why would they do that? How did they get money for this video? Like that type of thing. Like that's the entire...
Yeah.
The last music video I did. Like the entire thing is like, not to be homophobic, but I'm sick of the Spotify canvas popping up on my phone. Like shit like that. Which is, I get, it's kind of crazy. But I don't know, that it does hurt. Like when you read, like insulting things on the internet, I think like exactly what you said. Like I'm getting older. I'm more comfortable like with who I am. And I'm like proud of the work that I'm putting out. I think like earlier on in my career, let's get into the details. We shot a music video for Armadillo Shells. The Hot Mulligan music video for Armadillo Shells. And it was like, we had $400 in the budget. It was like literally me, Tades the vocalist, and Ryan the guitarist, like running around East Lansing, not really knowing what we're doing. Like I didn't do a great job. I'm not like proud of that. Which is funny now because it's like relatively big, which sucks. But like one of the... Yeah, can't bury that one. But like maybe like a month after it was posted, it was like someone tore me apart in the comments being like, was this filmed on an iPhone? I don't get how a band of this caliber can't afford like someone that understands how to edit. And then I was like, oh, this hurts me so much. Like, and Twitter, stuff like that will happen on Twitter. There was like, I put like guns in a music video, probably like 4 or 5 music videos in like a 2-month span. And like people were calling me out for doing that on Twitter. Which like, I don't know, I don't love. But I think, yeah, it is like, if I put my screen down and then I go talk to my wife, everything is kind of normal. So like, I think it's good to not be so invested in like my work, like the music scene, whatever, my career. That makes stomaching negative feedback much easier.
I think as well is half the time with the negative feedback, like say if someone's saying, like you're saying with that film clip, like, do you even know how to edit, or was it shot on the phone? It's all that person is saying if you broke it down, is, God damn it, I wish I filmed that Hot Mulligan film clip. That's what they're saying. That's all they're saying. It's as simple as that. They're just going, this guy got to do it. Fuck, I want to be that guy. That's all it is.
Yeah. Or it's like valid too. Is like, I think a lot of the time, like when you're consuming media, like whether it's like an album or a music video or whatever, it's kind of like there's a separation where you're consuming and someone else is creating. But then like when you put something on the internet, most of the time someone in the circle that created it will read it. Which I don't think a lot of fans or like people understand. Not saying they need to or anything. But like your favorite artists are a lot of the time reading everything you're posting on like Reddit's like pop punkers or r/emo. Just interesting. A little observation is that the creators are like reading what you put out.
See, one thing that changed for me in probably the last 12 months, and this was more on set, like I'm a pretty joking guy. Like I joke with people all the time, and I think a lot of times people just find me a bit of a pest, but I used to kind of have this thing where you'd kind of do the fun, like kind of the fun put down, like I don't know, you say their shirt's terrible or something just for a bit of a funny joke or something. But I've stopped doing that style of fun banter because you just never know, like, the bad day that someone could be having. And I've just I've flipped it, and I just go always positive. Like, I fucking love your shirt. And it's just funny thinking about that with comments. Like, if everyone, maybe, for every crap comment that someone puts, if people have put 15 other ones, hopefully that drowns out the rubbish so that, people are just getting the good vibes and not worrying about, because the negative stuff often sticks, right? It's so weird.
Yeah, definitely sticks. But at the same time, I also I want shit posting to continue, or I don't just want good feedback on content that's out there. I don't know. It's we're getting back to punk. I think it is about being very critical of things, whether that's politics or religion or the media you're consuming. I'd like that aspect of things. I think it just sucks when you're receiving the hate,
Yeah. But I think it's also, it's seeking the kind of that mentor vibe, getting critiqued by people who know what they're talking about, I think is important for sure. But just some knob in a comment, it's just that they're a tosser. Move on.
Yeah, definitely valid. No time for knobs is what we say around here.
Yeah, no time for knobs. It's that brings me back to the Friday night thing again. But anyway, the question on that: have you ever been the negative poster? Have you left a comment on someone's video or something or song and just torn them apart?
Oh, no. I think I'm too vain to have public opinions like that. I'd much rather tear them apart with my friends behind closed doors when I am being negative. I don't want it to ever be documented.
They turn their back and they walk away, and you're like, God, I hate that person.
That sounds awful. I try to not be that guy.
Yeah.
I never want to put bad feelings out there publicly. Not a good thing to do spiritually, because then again, it goes into what are they feeling at the time, especially because the internet is such a weird place to you can't read people, what's going on. Someone could be super insecure about that piece of work, and then I have a valid critique on them and they read it, then it's one thing to DM or have a relationship with someone. I've had that before with other directors in my life would be like, yeah, I think this could have been stronger, something like that. But like a public, I can't do that.
Yeah, no. And I think sometimes I'll see things and I'll just be like, but it's never a thought to comment. It's just think it's not going to serve anyone any purpose. I do like that idea of going, if there was something really strong that you were like, actually, I think it would help this person if I mention this yet, then do it in the DM version rather than the public version. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, one time I had a director, looking back, this is awesome, but I had a director like hit me up in my DMs like in 2019. He was like, hey, I really like this video. I think in the end, he said, I would have loved to see this happen in the final chorus. You did like one element that lasted 1 second, and I think that should have been the entire thing. And it was like so flattering that he even watched the video and that he also took the time to like think about it. Like maybe this guy would appreciate having some feedback, and then typing it out in a polite way. It was like, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Yeah. That is good. I actually sat down with one of kind of Brisbane or Queensland, probably even Australia's best gaffers recently, and just asked him to pick apart my work and just give me, a bit of critiquing, and I was presenting some of the work that I have been disappointed with the result just through time on the day, or just if things got really short and I just couldn't do everything I wanted, but I wanted to put that out to him and say, tell me what you would have done different so that next time I'm more ready and I can deal with that short amount of time. And it was really liberating to kind of, rather than only show him all the stuff that I was most proud of, is actually just put myself out there and be like, just give it to me. And he obviously was super nice about it, but he also went, okay, well, what led you to this decision? What led to this and that? And it was just awesome. It was so good to have like genuine constructive feedback. It was so good.
That's awesome. Good on you, dude. Way to flex that humble muscle, because that's terrible.
It was, but he's also super handsome, so it was easy to sit there and listen to him, so it was good.
Just get mesmerized in his beautiful baby blues.
It's so good. Now, I've got, I don't want to hold you up too long, but I've got a couple more questions if you're still good. You still got a few minutes on your end?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, wicked. The question that I wanted to ask from here was, where do you want to go? So you've moved from kind of shooting and DOPing. You're going into a producing role. What's next for Herrick? Where are you going to go?
Yeah, I ask myself that quite frequently. I think I'm still learning where I want to go. I would like to get to the point where I'm not focused on anything that I don't want to be focused on. So I think that's probably going to be moving like more towards being a DP or directing and getting away from like the logistics side of things, or at least like being able to have a team of assistant producers or something to start handling everything surrounding producing. But definitely if I like think about like 3 years from now, I don't want to be thinking about money or like what this will do for my career or anything like that. I just want to be taking on projects with artists that I believe in, that I think the end product we would all be happy with. That's where I usually come back to.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then maybe like decreasing my frequency with work is another big thing. Just like having a job a month would be huge, to get to a point where like either budget allows that or my rates continue growing to the point where I don't need to have like 3 jobs a month or whatever. But I could just get it down to like to where I could have like a schedule, spend time with family, and just not have any element of stress in my life that doesn't need to be there.
That's good. For a gentleman of 28 years old, I think that's a very nice place to be aiming for, and very sensible rather than just trying to grind yourself to the bone. So space and time and family is definitely a huge importance. So kudos, young man, kudos.
Cool, thank you. That's what all the older people say. It's like that your career's awesome and whatever, but like if you don't have a good life, you're like, you need to be surrounded by your family and people that you love, because they'll be there when the next client like leaves you, or your career is no longer relevant because of new tech or whatever. So I've been very intentional
AI
with
has
that.
absolutely slaughtered us all. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, definitely invest in my wife first and foremost.
Yeah.
The career is fleeting.
Yes. Well, as a married man with 3 children, I can definitely say that communication is by far the most important part to a healthy marriage, and particularly as in our industry where, I think sometimes we get so involved in what we're doing in the creative side and the passion of it, and I definitely suggest that always being open to what we're trying to achieve, how we're trying to achieve it, and what those ever-changing goals are moving forward. The women in our lives and our partners very much appreciate that communication, and it just makes everything so much healthier. So if I can part on that to you, I would definitely suggest that.
Beautiful. Taking notes.
Yes. Yeah. You're like, this guy's near 40. I got to take notes.
He's so wise. Give me some advice on managing a freelance career with a baby on the way. I've got July 9th is my first being born.
That is absolutely beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I'm very thankful and also freaking out.
Dude, the freak out is real, and I can't help you with that. No, so freelancing and children is a wild ride. Working from home with children, so mine are 6, 3, and we've got a 12-week-old, so 3-month-old. So all I can suggest is you just got to be diligent with your time, give the family as much time as you can. So it sounds like you're already thinking in the right direction of trying to work, the rates go up, work less, work smarter. But honestly, this career, even though it has not the inflexibility, but when we're working, we have to work, but the flexibility around time and the amount of time we get off. So, some weeks I don't work, but then other weeks I work lots. But that time of being around your children is just invaluable. Like, you cannot get that back. So all I can suggest is just be there as much as you can. And the wives and the mums are the most sensational, beautiful things that raising the children, but supporting them and in turn supports the child, and it's just beautiful. So you are in for a fucking beautiful ride. Congratulations.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you, sir.
So the is that the first in your family, or do you have kind of nieces and nephews and things?
That's number 1 for us, but I have 15 nieces and nephews.
Jeez. Okay, there you go. Oh, that's from the pastor handed it down very well. Very good.
Right, we definitely have a growing family.
Now, the last couple of questions I want to chat with you, and I'm so grateful for your time, and you're a wildly busy man, so giving me 2 hours of your time has just been an absolute pleasure, so I'm so grateful. Actually, one thing I wanted to mention is when I hit you up about that 360 shot from the Fall Out Boy tour with Hot Mulligan, literally the next day I ordered a X3. I was just like, I've got to have one. It's so cool.
Dude, they're the craziest little piece of technology. It blows my mind every single time that I'm using it. I don't understand how it does anything, and it always looks badass every single time. Just stick it in someone's face and throw it around the crowd, and everyone's amazed.
Yeah. And that, honestly, that was easily one of the most standout shots that I'd seen in a long time. And that's what compelled me just to message you. I was just like, it just fell out of my mouth because I was like, holy crap, this is a drone. Hang on. No, it's a 360 camera. It was just such a cool shot. And I was so impressed. So it was hence why I went and bought one straight away. But now I just need
that's
to
a drone.
Be at
no,
a,
that's
at a full
a
Out Boy
dumb
concert.
Yeah. Just like me sprinting through the arena. Security was not happy about it.
Why is everyone sitting in those concerts? That was bizarre.
Yeah, that was a very interesting decision. And it stunk shooting like 2 of 4, like the opener, because Hot Mulligan was second on those shows. Because like Hot Mulligan fans would stand, and then 97% of everyone else would sit down. So you would just like see that the majority of everyone was sitting. So for like all of the footage, we had to be like super careful of like how we were framing things. Because it was very obvious that no one really was there for them. Which was weird.
Next
it felt
time next time.
Yeah, next time they're at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love that. Didn't love that from our end, but I do understand like why a headlining band would do that for an arena full of fans. Sitting down has its benefits.
It looks super weird. I was just like, ugh, doesn't make sense. But anyway,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for
I don't
punk
think Australia
rock.
would do that. No, not at all.
I'll yell at the suits for you.
So next, yeah, excuse me. I know your liability payment was much less, but anyway, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, next time Hot Mulligan come out to Australia, make sure you're on it, and we'll hang out, and that'll be awesome because you missed out on coming to our. Have you been to Australia before?
No. It was we were supposed to go in like 2019 or something like that. But like the week before, whatever producer or booking agent we were working with just like, I don't know if he like hadn't done any work or something. It was very ambitious to go to Australia. But we like had to pull the plug. So we had like a month of downtime. But I would love to make it over. It looks stunning. And yeah, like New Zealand, all the pictures that Kay was posting was mind blowing.
Yes. I'm pretty sure she stood next to me to take a photo in Brisbane. So, I feel like I know her,
Pretty good friends with K-Dargs over here.
One of the last things is if you could pick any band, client, job to do next, who would you work with right this minute if you could?
Dead or alive?
Let's go with alive.
Okay. They're all alive. They aren't active. Probably Old Grey.
Okay.
They're I don't know if you ever heard of the band Sorority Noise.
Yes, I have heard. I don't know the music though.
Okay. Yeah, look up Old Grey. They're like
Okay.
They're fantastic. Like extremely emotional. It's like a bunch of Philadelphia emos, but it's like screamo, scrams. Is absolutely beautiful art they're creating, or created. They would be a bucket list client that will never happen. Maybe Pianos Become the Teeth. That would be, they're active, and that would be a dream for me. Would be Pianos Become the Teeth.
Very good. And actually, that just leads me to ask you, what is your favorite, or do you have a favorite song of all time.
Oh, of all time? No. No.
You're
I
like,
can't.
here
No.
is a collection of what I love. Yeah.
Dude, no, that's so hard to say. No, I can't even. No. I don't think I can.
That's a good problem to have. It is a good problem to have.
Yeah, have you heard of songs? There's so many good ones. Endless.
It is, and I think they're all representative of different moments in your life too. Like at one specific moment, you're like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard. And then 2 months later, something else happens and you're like, no, wait, this is the best song I've ever heard. I think for me, it all just comes back to it's all just therapy. Like punk rock, emo, it's the best therapy you can have in life.
Let me give you I Can Feel a Hot One by Manchester Orchestra.
Ah, okay.
To give you an answer. At least right now in
Yes.
this 30 seconds, hell. Favorite.
Nice.
If that's even the right
Well,
title. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Now that no one looks at the album art anymore. We never know what the songs are. So
Yeah, it's shuffled a couple times.
I just listen to whatever Spotify tells me. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
No.
I let the algo decide for me.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I want to thank you, Michael, for spending your morning with me in my evening. It's an absolute pleasure that you, first of all, acknowledged my reach out and had a chat prior and were willing to donate some of your time. And I was super stoked. I've actually feel that I've learnt and drawn some great tips that I can apply to my work and my life. And I'm really excited to see what is coming for you in the next few months and years. And while I love Hot Mulligan to death, I think I'll still be watching your work very regularly. So thank you very kindly, good sir.
Dude, thank you for saying all of that. And thanks for hitting me up and being willing to reschedule and being a very kind man. Instilling family wisdom to the 28-year-old. It means a lot.
My pleasure. And we'll do a virtual handshake to how do we?
Or I guess this is where you are to the camera.
So good. All right, man. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful, and thank you, your wife, for your time as well. It's very appreciated.
Of course. I hope you have a good one, man.